to VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. It is great to be here with you live. I am a little late. I apologize about that. Had some quick situation I had to handle before I came on, but I am here now, and it is good to be with you live on Tuesday. What's the date today? Today is the 12th. So can you believe that? The 12th of May. So it's awesome to be here. Today, we are going to dive into branding, why it is so important for your voiceover business to brand. It's imperative. And a lot of us are failing because of this word. And I want to talk about it today so that we can kind of get an understanding of what it is, why you need to be doing it now, not waiting, but now, and how this can help turn around your entire business. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer as we dive into branding, why you as a voiceover artist need to be doing this, and the fact that if you're not doing this, it's a big no-no because it will, in the end, either make you or I think it would possibly destroy you. So, did you take attendance yet? No, I don't take attendance, but I do appreciate that, Eric. So let's dive into branding and what that means. So first off, whether it's voiceover, right, because that's what we talk about here, or it's business in general, branding is the idea of, honestly, people knowing who you are, right? Knowing who you are, what you stand for, trusting you because of them knowing you and familiar with you and being able to connect with you. That's a brand, right? A brand. We know the colors. We know their names. There might be a jingle that goes along with them. There might be a little saying like, this show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on, right? These are brands. And why brands are so important, and they're more important for small businesses like us now than ever, because there is no way, let's just be honest and straightforward, there's no way that you and I can compete with voices.com or Fiverr or Upwork or any of these companies, right, going out and just getting mass quantities of traffic. All right. And with that traffic also comes a way of being able to shift mindset. So there's a lot of power that these companies, and we're talking about voiceover, right, that they have. Before, it used to be that the company's agents and things had all this power. But now, that's shifted online, right? But here's the thing. They've branded themselves. But let's use Walmart as an example. A lot of people like Walmart, of course, like to shop there, but a lot of people don't like Walmart. And traditionally, what happens is when you're in a community and Walmart moves in, okay, it brings a lot of jobs on one sense, but it also ends up putting a lot of small businesses out of work, okay? And the reason behind that, right, is because when Walmart moves in, they bring such a wide range of options, okay, and I'm just using Walmart as a company, and they service so many more needs than the mom and pop stores could service, right? But where a big company like Walmart suffers, and why little companies either thrive or go out of business, is because of brand. And I want to switch brand over now to brand specialty. And this is where I'm going with this whole video today. What I would love for all of us to continue to explore is what specialty are you in, right? What separates you from everybody else? And of course, we as voiceover artists naturally say our voice. But if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I'm really big on more than just our voiceovers, right? I'm really big on how we actually promote our business, how we push ourselves beyond just, I do voiceover and my voice is unique. Okay, there's more to it, right? There's what does your business stand for? What type of work inspires you? In turn, when you're inspired, you're going to inspire other people. Okay, how do you deal with customers? What's your systems for, the customer experience from beginning to end? All of these things really matter. They matter big time. They're really important. And if you're not looking into these things, if you're not exploring them and pushing yourself down a path to where you stand out because of the banner in which you're flying under, you are a specialist in this area. Okay, you are a specialist in customer service. You are a specialist in delivery time. All right. And it's the core foundation of, yes, it manifests itself and, making sure you deliver in 24 hours. But it's more than that. It's taking the customer seriously and their time seriously, which then becomes you specialize in making the customer experience better than anyone else. All right. You might charge accordingly for that, but then you start putting things into place, like how you reach out to your customers. What do they get on top of your voiceover? And that could meaning like, do they get a monthly email from you, a thank you? Do you send them a card? Do you have a logo that is all about showing that whole idea, right? All of these things matter when it comes to you separating and you standing out of the pack. And if you're not doing that, you will remain always beholden to another business, or you will be shoved out of business by all of the other people crawling and clawing their way up the ladder. There's got to be a way for you to move over to a ladder that has a lot less people on it. Because if there's a lot less people on the ladder over here than this ladder, you're going to be able to go up that ladder a lot faster because you won't have to crawl and claw and bite and kick to get over as many people. And the way to do that is to specialize in something. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should go out and just quit doing all the things that you normally do, like saying, well, that's it. From this point on, I'm only doing this voiceover. It's not what I'm saying. What I mean, though, is that, like, for example, myself, I'm open for all types of voiceovers, okay? But I really specialize in, inspiring, nurturing, emotional type of voiceovers. And I promote that by surrounding myself with all sorts of evidence of that. Videos, samples, the way I deal with customers, the way I reach out to them. Everything revolves around that. So I get a lot of work for that. And a lot of people come to me for that. All right. That's what they come to me for. That's what my demo is around. That's what all the 30 videos now I've got posted in places of work I've done with people. All of this is around that. Do I do other things? Sure, I do other things. I just dropped my pencil. Sure, I'm getting into it. Sure, I do other things. But this is how I brand myself with voiceover. Okay. All right. And if you notice, similarly, I do this sort of thing with my coaching. Okay, it's more than just a business, right? It becomes who we are. And to be real for a moment, I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. Most of us are, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to be able to put in words our feelings. I mean, we know this. I mean, it's a challenge with relationships, with everything. But I ask you to take time and really think about putting it into words. Take the time, right? Take the time to try to define it. And can I tell you, you'll know when you have it, when it's so simple, it makes so much sense to you, but it's simple that you thought, why couldn't I ever, this is so simple. This is me in a nutshell. Why haven't I ever been able to say it before? That's usually when you know you found it. Because other times it's hard to describe. Most of the time it's hard to describe how we feel, what we want to happen. And a lot of times what we want to happen is a feeling. We want to feel successful. We want to feel secure. We want to feel safe. We want to feel these ways. Okay, but feeling these ways, that's great. But it's usually a feeling is gathered. It comes from something actually happening. So in order to get the feeling that we want and to give other people the feeling that we want, we have to make something happen. Again, with the brand. All right. So for you and me in this branding idea, we're not going to be able to compete head to head with thousands and tens of thousands of other people. That's why it's become so hard to get work on huge, massive auditioning sites like voices.com or voice123, because there's so many people competing on there. What separates you? And let's be honest, I'm going to use myself as a perfect example. There are people that are so much better than me in voiceover. It's ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. But does that mean they're making more money than me? Might not be. Does that mean that that's wrong? I don't think so, because there's more to it than just how good you are, right? It's also about how well do you share that message with other people? How real are you? How sincere are you about it? It's a challenge, but it's a challenge worth going after because it will allow you to separate yourself and get onto that other ladder like I was talking about. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you. I was on that little spiel again. I had a question in my group going. By the way, if you have any questions or comments about branding or what it is, and again, that was like a 20,000 foot view about branding, why it's important. Branding can be done many different ways, but when you're looking at the guys, and instead of diving into it completely, whatever you're trying to brand something, just look at the fact that branding is a huge part of branding is awareness, right? First getting to know you, who you are, what you stand for. Do you notice in there, it's not about selling. And that's the thing. Selling is a result of awareness and trust and knowing. Okay, that's the result. That's not the purpose. Okay, I know it's confusing. Okay, and it confused me for a long time. But the goal is to help people know who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in. Okay, and yes, does that mean that every time you put something out on the internet or you relay a message that it has to be life altering and you win some, award for how amazing it is? No, but everything you should do or everything you do should still revolve around that idea. All right. And it's getting people to know you, whether they know what type of work that you like to do, whether they know how you feel about helping people. All right. It really can be that simple. I got a good question, BDoggy45, and this is something that I think people have spent a lifetime, and I'll give you how I did it. So BDoggy45 says, how do you find your brand and what to do? All right. I love that question. And the reality is, when I started trying to figure out a brand for myself, it starts to go down the path of, what are you here for? And that's deep, I know. But the idea here, and let's be fair, this business that we're creating, this is an extension of us. It is. This business is an extension of us. Now, it might be a small part of us. Okay, it might be an extension of how we feel about this or how we feel about that. But it's an extension of us. So since it's an extension of us, okay, what are you here for? What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want people to say about you? I mean, and I'm serious. Like, this is a big deal. It's a really big deal. What do you want people to say about you? I love this question. It's kind of morbid, but it's also a really thought-provoking question. And the question goes like this. If you attended your own funeral, all right, and everybody was there, and at your funeral, you recorded a message, what would you want that message to say about your life? About how you lived your life, about the way you wanted people to remember you. What was the important message you wanted to give to people about you? All right, Greg, this is exactly how to come up with a slogan. How do you come up with this? This is exactly what I'm talking about right now. And you've got to explore this first. And this is why people fail at this. BDoggy45, Greg, this is why people struggle with coming up with slogans, coming up with brands, because it is a deep dive into who we are and what we believe in. It took me years, and I finally came up with, for me, there's two parts to this, right? Branding is being, awareness, right? Making people know who you are, what you stand for. And through that, yes, it can be slogans. It can be little jingles like I do. It can be your colors. And we all know, for example, IBM Blue, like we all know all these specific things. We know the Starbucks logo, we get to know these things. But if you are trying to figure out all of these things, you have to start first with, what you yourself inside wants to be remembered for. What do you want to be remembered for? For me, this took me the longest time. Like it was a search for like why I was, and I know we're going deep here, but this is branding, right? This is branding, and especially when it's just us, because we are the brand. Okay, we are the brand. Can we expand and build a company around that? Absolutely. And that's what we're doing. But our business is who we are. We are the brand. Our beliefs, our desires. So what I was saying is that it took me forever to realize that for me, it's a simple idea about what I want people to think of me as. And it honestly boils down to, I want people to think, here was the guy who thought anything was possible. If you worked hard enough, if you tried hard enough, you believed hard enough, anything is possible. I remember when I was young, my mother used to tell me, she used to tell me all the time, she'd be like, honey, if you want something bad enough, you can get it. If you want to be something bad enough, if you will work hard enough for it, anything is possible. All right. And I remember that she taught me that. Amongst all the things and all the tough things we went through when I was young, I never forgot that. And as I grew up, that stuck with me, whether I played football in college or whether I, did this or did that, or I tried, 10 different jobs, or I was always on a search to find that one thing. The point is everything I went to, I had some similar form of success, but I still wasn't necessarily happy. Exactly, because all the pieces of my puzzle weren't filled. But I never stopped believing that if I wanted something bad enough, it was possible. If I tried hard enough, it was possible. And I realized that part of fulfilling my personal puzzle was helping other people realize that as well. All right, nothing inspires me more than to see someone trying their hardest and fighting against all odds. And maybe that's me being an American too, right? Because we love underdog stories. But that's what I believe in. That's my passion. That's why I love helping people. That's why when people, when people throw other people to the curb and they treat them horribly and say how horrible they are, and then I listen to them, I think they're amazing. It's just who we are. So when you're trying to find who you are, that's the first step. You might be a person that believes in loyalty, right? A person that believes in standing behind someone, right? Through thick and thin. And that's what you've lived for. That's what your family is about. That's everything that you believe in, all right? And you believe in this world today, that's more important than anything is loyalty. I'm just using this as an example. So your job then is to take that and to build that, or, to build a business around that. What does that look like in our business? Do you know what I mean? So like for me, and what I told you, where I believe in everything is, I believe that, no matter how much challenges lay in our path, it's possible. Anything is possible. I've always believed that. And I always wanted to be proof that anything was possible. All right. And so that's another reason why I started my podcast, years ago. And I hadn't gone full time. I was far from it. And that was the goal of the podcast, was to document my journey going full time. Okay. That was the whole point of it. Because I wanted to prove that it was possible. I wanted to prove that someone could could someone in my position who had a mortgage, who had a family, who had a full-time job, who had all these things, who seemingly had a decent life, had a good life, but at the same time was missing something, still could go forward, right? And be successful at something else. So then the brand came out to be, it's a journey. We're all on a journey together. It happens over time. I will say this, searching for this brand, the idea about that funeral, nothing happens overnight. Coming up with a slogan in one sit down is something. And honestly, the whole, VO's journey and that tagline that I kind of have, right? And I have there's a couple different ones that come from it. A lot of times those taglines too come with repetition. I came up with, sidestepping all the things that I seem to step on. I'll be square with you. I'd be lying to you if I told you different. I didn't sit down and script that. I can't even remember how I came up with that. It must have been, I was just saying it one time. And I think if you listen back to the podcast episodes, you can look at it and listen to how it kind of came about. And I didn't always say the same thing for a while until after, 50, 60 episodes, however many, it started to become more uniform, right? So I think that's something that happened then. But it didn't start that way. But here's the answer to it all. Whether you know all of the answers now or you don't, the key is to take action in trying to figure it out. Okay, whether that's you taking action in, putting out a podcast, putting out the samples like we talked about. I published a video last week or so, or the week before, about putting out samples. And I've seen some amazing samples going around, which is wonderful. And, that gives you another way to put out your beliefs. What kind of samples do you decide to put up? Do you put up, crazy over the top samples, video game samples, nurturing type samples, cinematic? Do you put up, e-learning? This is wonderful. It talks to you all about it. And then what type do you put up? Again, everything that you do should be an awareness about you. Does it have to be super deep like I'm going right now? Of course not, right? You can't handle this kind of being deep all the time, but there are moments for it, right? Because it gives a total picture of this, all right? Really, it does. But I just hope that for all of this video today, you understand that we are so much. We are and we know that we are so much. We are an entire life full of stuff. And we are more than just a voiceover. But a voiceover in our business is a representation of who we are. So again, I ask you, if you had to right now script out and record what you would say about yourself at your funeral, all right? Like everybody's gathered in the church, and it's they say they play the recording of you. What would you say? What would you want everyone in that church to remember you for? Think about that. Honestly, what would you want them to remember you for? What legacy are you going to live here on earth? Now, you might say, boy, that's deep. I just did a $5 job for, for someone, making funny noises on an app game. Anthony, I don't know how that goes with it. I get it. I understand that. But it has a larger meaning too. And it also goes back to us filling in that puzzle of our life. It is an amazing feeling when you have that blanket of understanding of who you are and what you want out of your life. I know for me, for the longest time, it took me forever to find it. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that there wasn't amazing, beautiful things in my life that still exist now. There were. But just because things are beautiful in your life doesn't mean you are fulfilled completely. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So to get that fulfillment, this is a path that you can go down to find it. It's what I went down. Now, don't get me wrong. Like yesterday, I was drawing with my daughter, and I love to draw and draft. I draw and do draft and sketches and designs because I used to do technical theater and I used to design sets and things, and I love to draft and I love maps and I love all that kind of stuff. It's just a part of me. Does that have to do with voiceover? No, but if you think about it, it still has to do with me building something, me creating something from nothing, me believing that something's there that doesn't exist right now. All right. I love that. That's a passion of mine. And that's why I love to help people build the businesses and build themselves, because there is something beautiful and amazing there, even if they don't see it or other people don't see it. That's just who I am. But I've taken a long time and a lot of hard looks at myself and my past and the good times and the bad times to figure all that out. You've got to search for that yourself as well. And through that searching, you will come up with these things. A great idea is to write ideas down. Get a journal, type them out, whatever. But write ideas that come to you. Write them down. You'll start to see themes, reoccurring themes. So bringing all of this back. Bringing all of this back. Sorry, I know people are commenting here. I'll look at it in a second. But bringing all of this back, how do you apply it? And I think somebody, or how do you apply this to what we're talking about again? All right, building your business. To me, the future of what I'm trying to go forward to is everything, and it's what guides my business. If you haven't figured that out, like your brand and what you're trying to create, then everything you're doing is honestly just chasing money. And the reason why you're chasing money is because you think money is going to give you the feeling that you're looking for. But I can tell you, when you get the money, and you will, you do this long enough and you work hard enough at it, you can do it. You can do it. Anything is possible. You can make it. You will realize that money actually wasn't the end goal that you really needed. Money was just a piece of the puzzle. Is it an important piece? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie and say, money's money. That's baloney. We got to pay our bills. We need money. But there's more to it than just money. Because if money was it, then why are, people who have lots of money miserable? Because it's not just about money. It's about fulfilling that life goal that you have. And you might not even be able to say it yet. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's the first step that you have to come up with before you can brand your business. Because if not, it's just a bunch of empty words. Could you come out and say, all right, my business is branding around customer service? Sure. And everything you could do could be about customer service. Sure. Absolutely. Could that be a brand? Yeah. You're known for customer service. You're very customer centric. You go above and beyond. You do things that other businesses don't even think about doing for the customer. Absolutely. And is that a brand? Sure. Is it going to feel real to you if you really don't necessarily believe that? Yeah, it's going to feel a little awkward. And when the stuff hits the fan, and it will be easily abandoned. And you'll wake up one day and you'll think, gosh, what am I going to do today? I don't have anything, what am I working on? You know what I'm talking about, right? When you wake up and you're like, gosh, there's all these things to do. What's the most important thing for me to do today? Usually our minds go to, we got to make money. But I'm telling you, once you get the money, what do you do then? You're like, oh, spend the money. Well, yeah, once you spend the money, what do you do? And I'm being serious about it. All right. I know I've gone down 20 different holes here, and hopefully you followed along somewhat. Because all of this journey, this philosophical mindset, all these things, you have to dive in the hole to figure it out. Or you can't brand yourself. You know that thing I told you a little bit earlier ago about the belief I have that, anything's possible, and me wanting to be proof that anything was possible. It took me years to be able to simply say that. And now that I say it, I can tell you with every ounce of my being that is why I was either put on this earth or some random things collided in the universe that allowed me to be here talking to you today. That's why I believe it so much. Now, does that mean I don't have problems? No, that's not what this is about. This doesn't matter like the clouds open, the heavenly chorus sings, and you're in La La Land. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about a guiding light, a principle that guides you through every decision you make. And it guides your business. And through what you do, the business exudes that from you. And people can see it, whether it's consciously and subconsciously. You might have never thought that's what I believed in before. But hopefully with you watching me and the things that you've seen that I put out, maybe hopefully you got a feeling that I want to help people. I want to be a part of people's lives. Okay, and that is exactly why I believe that anything is possible. All right, maybe you just need that information. Maybe you just need the extra inspiration. Maybe you just need to say, hey, that guy knows what it's like to go through the crap I'm going through. You know, he can do it, I can do it. Anything is possible. I believe that with all my being. What do you believe with all your being? It's my question to you. What do you believe with all of your being? You answer that, you have met your brand. Okay? All right, you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I think we've got a lot of comments here, and I want to thank everybody on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and Facebook for joining me. Boy, I went down the rabbit hole big time on this one, so I hope it was, if you're still here, bless you for being still a part of everything. Thank you, and let's see what we've got going on here. We've got on Instagram, Great Wisdom. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate your help. This is my lovely women. Such great wisdom. That was my wife and my daughter. Such great wisdom, Anthony. I'm a sponge right now. Oh, I like that. Thank you. It's not random, brother. Everything happens for a reason, and anything is possible. Absolutely, I totally agree. Thank you, sir. We got Eric. We got BDoggy45, and I really appreciate that question. You kind of helped me along that path, man. With the question, Carol says, "Good stuff. Thank you, Carol." We talked about Greg, the slogan. And do you ever notice too? It can be a challenge because I always looked for someone to give me the answer, like to tell me, okay, this is what you particular tell me 2 or 3 things about you. Bam, here's your slogan. And that's kind of nice, right? To be able to do that, and we want somebody to do that for us, and we'd pay someone a lot of money for it. But what I found out is I tried to do that in the past too. I tried to get people to answer me. What do I need to, actually want you to tell me A, B, C, D, E, F. And there are some programs out there like Simon Sinek, Start With Why. He's got a great program. If you haven't heard him, he's a gentleman who did the TED Talk. It's like the most listened to TED Talk, or the second most listened to TED Talk ever. And it was about, start with why, start with your purpose, not with the product. As opposed to most people start with the product, okay? And it changes why we buy something. We buy things out of emotions, all right? And logic comes after, all right? But the idea is that, he has a program, an online program that you can, pay for and go through. And I bought it many years ago and went through it. And, I kind of got stuck because there was a component where anyways, the point is that it's a path. It's a long path. I went down the path trying to find this for a long time, all right? And it wasn't until I started this business that I actually found it. And I realized there was more components. So many times I thought it was, this way or that way. I thought it was, if I had this, this would happen. And then I realized it was a big puzzle. There were so many pieces, but in the center was that the idea, right, that anything is possible, right? It's possible to be kind when people are not kind. It's possible to show compassion when people aren't showing compassion. Anything is possible. Greg says we need an accountability group to push us upward and onward. I love that idea, Greg. And I like to think that when the Fiverr Elite group is also part of that accountability for me every Saturday that we meet. Everybody there holds me accountable. I try to hold everybody else accountable, and but you're right. It's good to be that. The thing with accountability groups is that we all have to really buy into them. Do you know what I mean? Like we can't, it's more to just join one. It's that you got to buy into it, because like who am I to tell you to be accountable? You got to buy into it. So I'm right there with you, Greg. Let's see. Eric says, I struggle with knowing what to work on. If there were 5 or 6 things that I could perfect and I'd be successful, I'd work on them. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, right? If there's 5 or 6 things, now there's priorities, and we can dive deeper into priorities on another show. But I think the reality in this one is that those 5 or 6 things, are they in the wheelhouse of what you're moving towards? Are we always going towards that end goal? Do you know what I mean? That end purpose, Like, am I always working? I always ask myself, am I always working on trying to put things out that are really going to help people and are going to help people who aren't being helped right now? Right? Am I doing that? And then am I doing that for the purpose of me trying to make money? Or am I doing that for the purpose of me trying to help other people make something happen that they never thought could happen? And these are tough questions. These are also why people get so angry at coaches, and they get so angry at people in positions of power, because those people abuse that power. It's hard. It's hard to see all of this stuff in front of you, and you could grab it. All right. But what do you have to give away in order to grab it? Are you willing to give away what that cost is? Sometimes that cost can be, I don't know, I was going to say sometimes the cost can be your soul, and it can be. We're going really far off the deep end here, but it is true. All right. I saw some things over the weekend about comments that were being made about other voice actors and coaches and stuff. And, I found it interesting and saddening, but at the same time, also fair questions too. And it's important to be able to note how much is enough as well. That's another story, another question. All right. Say there, ADD is really hard to overcome. ADD is really hard to... Listen, Greg, I hear you. I think I've had it since I was a little boy. You can tell. I'm like, squirrel! I hear you, man. I struggle with knowing what to work on. We just did that one. What should I do to improve my American accent? Zelby, every single day, work on it. There's no secret weapon to any of this. It's just every single day work on it. Can you find a coach? Yeah. So like if you work on it for a while, you've tracked and measured how well you're doing. Okay. Right? Meaning that, you record yourself, you work on it for a week, you find tongue twisters, you find, maybe you take some online classes, and then, if you need a coach, a dialect coach, do it. I think it goes back to, what is the measure of your resolve? I love that. What is the measure of your resolve, Zelby? How hard are you willing to work to get what you want? And that's why I talked about this today. Because if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you want to be remembered for, you will not be able to put in that extra work that's needed. Because you'll be like, I don't need to do it, or this isn't going to work. I'm telling you, I didn't believe it but I didn't succeed at anything, really succeed, until this business. And it's more so than just financially, it's succeeding and being fulfilled, right? I always thought, who cares whether you have lots of money if you're happy? Right? If some guy's living on the side of the road and they're the happiest person in the world, who's to say that they're not the richest person in the world? It's what do you value? I value happiness more than anything. Problem is most of us think money is going to bring us happiness, and it doesn't. Watch a lot of old American movies. That's what I do to learn other accents. Oh, that's good. Albeit may not be accurate accents, but I've gotten work from Scottish dwarf accent. Yes, I love the Scottish dwarf. Frank says, it's so true. When I complete a high-priced order, I don't feel as good until the customer says how happy he or she was with the final product. Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of us, just like performers, I loved that adoration. I'm not afraid to say it. I loved people watching and telling me I did a good job, because in my own way, it made me feel like I did something for them. Okay? And that's what I love to do. I'll apply that thought when I go to redraft my business plan. Wise word, my dude. Thank you, Johnny. What's the link for the particular TED Talk? It's super fun. If you just type in Simon Sinek, Sinek, it will blow your mind. It's called Start with Why. It's unbelievable. Absolutely amazing. Yo, Johnny, I want to get rid of my accent. How do I? Okay, we talked about that. Listen to news anchors. They are the ultimate non-regional speakers. Just be careful with listening to you don't want to get that. You want to keep who you are. All right. And that is definitely, and I know you're looking to get an American accent, which I think is wonderful to be able to add new things to your repertoire, but, don't lose who you are. And I would ask you too, Zelby, why do you want an American accent? You know what I mean? Is it that you think you'll get more work as an American with an American accent? I don't know. So that's just something to ask yourself too. And is it that worth it? Or are you spending more time trying to do that than finding work in your particular accent? And that could be wrong. Just questions. I bought Apogee 96K, but have a PC, didn't realize for Mac. Do you know if they have a program to use on my PC? Thanks. Hey, D, sorry, I do not. I have no idea. I apologize. I don't know that particular answer. But I'm Scott, mate. Do you think I can do it? I'm not sure, Scott. I don't know. We are not only the sum of our parts. We are not only the sum of our parts. All right, D. Zelby, I honestly do. Mimicking is the path to perfection. I mean, now as an actor, that's what we do, right? We mimic, we impersonate, or we are not impersonators, but imitators, right? We imitate, and that, how good can you imitate? Great answer. I've got some thinking to do. As an example, be the way a Scot says the word you. Thanks for, that's good. All right, we had to talk about that. Thanks for all the content, Anthony. Thank you. All right, guys. All right, we got some great questions kind of going to talking to each other, which is wonderful. Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for your time. Hopefully this helped out. Thank you so much. And I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you to all our frontline warriors out there. As always, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will see you soon. See you later. Goodbye.